to Cabinet meeting. So, have we got any apologies?
No receipt, Chair.
Okay, we've not got any urgent business. I've not been notified of any urgent business. Are there any declarations of interest in items on the agenda? Okay, next item is public question time. I've not had any public questions notified. So, we're on to the minutes of the previous meeting. Are they approved as a correct record?
Approved.
Okay, thank you. So item 6 is Oldham Council Efficiency Plan for the financial year 16-17 and 19-20. Who's going to speak to that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So essentially, this report sets out the Oldham Council Efficiency Plan for the period 16-17 to 2019-20. Basically, Chair, when the government gave us the last financial settlement last year, one of the requirements was that we produce a 4-year efficiency plan in order to access the government grants in form of revenue support grant. And what Appendix 1 does is actually sets out the plan for Oldham. We need to submit this to government by no later than 14th of October this year, and details of that are in here. And basically what we're asking is for the Cabinet to note the content of the efficiency plan, endorse that the revised cumulative budget caps figures which are set out in the recommendations starting in 18-19 being 20.315 million, and the following year it's well, I won't read it out, it's all there, and then it's asking for delegated authority for me to finalise and submit the efficiency plan to government in consultation with the Director of Finance. It's quite a technical finance document, Chair. I'm happy to take any questions, anything that I can answer. I'm sure our Director of Finance will be able to answer.
Are there any questions or comments? Are we? Sure.
Chair, it's just a comment. I know the government wants us to call this an efficiency plan, but in reality, in essence, it's a budget cutback or savings that we've got to make over the next three years, which equates to just over £45 million. And over this period, we're going to have to make some really tough decisions and look at areas that we don't really want to go into. And it's something that we're going to have to do because this government is cutting back on our budget that we get from them at the moment.
Absolutely agree that, but it was certainly signalled by government that if we chose not to have an efficiency plan, then we would suffer even more in terms of what grant would be available to us. So it is the case that we have had no choice but to do this. You are right, the things that will be coming down the track as a result are not going to be things that we will want to do. But with the relentless cuts that national government are making to local government, it leaves us with no choice. Okay, so are we agreed to the recommendations in the report? Agreed. Thank you. Okay, so the next item is the contract award national framework for the implementation and operation of a supplier early payment scheme. I think that's you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Essentially, we've undertaken a tender process, Chair, for this particular activity, and after the tender process, we are recommending a preferred provider, which is option 2, and that's Oxygen Finance. And basically, we require Cabinet to approve that. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions, Chair, on the report.
Any questions or comments? Do we agree? Bit louder?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and the next item on the agenda is my report. It's a council performance report. It's there for you to have looked at already. I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Anybody? Okay, do we note it? Thank you. Item 9, Priority School Build Programme Phase 2, Royton and Crompton School. Amanda, do you want to speak to this?
Thank you. As outlined in the report, I think 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, possibly 2.5 years ago, we made a bid to the Education Funding Authority for funding for 3 schools. In February 2015, we were notified that we were successful in funding for a rebuild of Royton and Crompton School. This is obviously 18 months on, and we're only just now getting a report to Cabinet. That is due to changes and delays at the Education Funding Authority, and that's something that we have done as a local authority. Nevertheless, finally we bring it to Cabinet. It was estimated that a full rebuild of Royton and Crompton, as it currently stands, would be £14 million. This would allow a rebuild of an 8th form entry school.
Is that in the Part 1 report or the Part 2 report?
No, the Part 1.
Part 1.
Yeah. Given we're expecting a significant shortfall of secondary school places over the coming years, we've requested the Education Funding Authority consider rebuilding Royton and Crompton as a 10th form entry school, thereby providing a further 60 places per year group, taking us from 240 a year to 300 pupils per year. The EFA have agreed to this, but stipulated that the cost of the extension from 8th form to 10th form must be funded by the local authority. Tonight I am asking for the agreement from Cabinet to allocate £3.5 million to fund the extension of Royton and Crompton. In addition to this, as is detailed in the report, the council has £170,000 in a capital budget for the refurbishment of the artificial pitch at Royton and Crompton School. I'm requesting that Cabinet agree to the transfer of the £170,000 in addition to the £3.5 million, as the refurbishment of the pitch will be done at the same time as the building and the extension of the new school. On a personal level, as a Royton councillor, I think this is quite a significant moment for me. I've been a councillor for 4.5 years, and every month I get parents or students of that school coming to me to say what a state that school is. I mean, I've been there several times, both in my current role and previously, and if anybody else has, you'll know that that school in 2015 is just not appropriate to be teaching 12 or 1500 students. Education is a key priority for the leadership of the council, but education isn't just about raising standards. That is our #1 priority for education in Oldham, to improve our standards across the board. But I think we also have a duty to ensure that all our students are taught in buildings and in environments that are fit for purpose and fit for learning. I hope Cabinet will agree, and I'm asking for you to agree to the preferred option as number 3. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Abdul?
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Councillor Chatterton about the need to rebuild this school. Chair, this has been going on for some years now. I remember going back at least 2.5 years ago when this was brought to Capital Programme Investment Board to look at this and the repairs associated with this school. And I remember we agreed to write to then the MP Michael Meacher to raise this with the Minister to get some funding to deal with the disrepair and actually to rebuild the school because of the terrible state it is in. So I'm pleased with the progress, but I have to say, Chair, that we must emphasise on the department how disappointed we are, the length of time it's taken to deal with this issue, and in the meanwhile our kids are being taught in a very poor building, and also we're spending good money doing repairs we need to do for health and safety reasons when we know this school isn't fit for purpose. So I'd thank the Cabinet member for the work she's doing and the officers for the wonderful work they're doing, but I would ask the department, they really need to make a decision on this and get on with rebuilding the school, which has been obvious for at least last 2.5 years.
Okay, thanks for that. Anybody else? Okay, in that case, is it agreed? Thank you. Okay, day services award of contract. Item 10, Jenny.
Thanks, Chair. as you say, this is to do with the awarding of a contract for the continuing day services in Oldham, and also to note the proposals for transforming daycare services to support the development of locally based integrated health and social care services. The report sets out the future commissioning arrangements for day services for older people. It covers daycare, complex daycare for people with dementia, and the enhanced lunch club services. It also brings in where it affects Limecroft, so there'll be there is mention of the new arrangements there. The new commission arrangements for daycare services will reflect the transformation in the provision of adult social care services in Oldham, where in the future we'll see a lot more people organising their own care, having personal budgets to be able to buy services. So it's really important to note that in this. So there'll be a change in the fundamental relationship with the council as a commissioner. Over the last few years we've had an overarching contract with Age UK covering several daycare services. This came to an end at the end of March, but it was agreed to extend the contract while we got the new contract in place. And in here, it refers to the vital services in terms of the council's overall objectives in promoting independence and avoiding early admissions into permanent residential care. So the contract went out through the council's tendering process, and the tenders were sent in by two companies which are mentioned in the blue papers later on. Provider B didn't really put in a viable tender at all, and provider A scored very highly in technical and in every other way. So provider A scored 62% against provider B only 9.5%. So on all measures, provider A far outranked provider B. So we're asking Cabinet to endorse the choice of provider A to continue the daycare services in Oldham.
Can we agree that? Is that agreed? Okay, thank you. So at this point in the agenda, we move to exclude the press and public.